Hey guys, so I'm here with my buddy Daniel Myra visiting from Marcelo Garcia's. He's one of the top brown belt competitors at featherweight. He won the Pan Am's no-gi at brown belt. Also, very well-rounded game, knows a lot of lapel stuff. So we were talking a lot about like kind of grip fighting and entering and also the lapel guards. So the position I think he was going to cover that I thought is really useful is like sometimes when we're in this grip fight and like he's trying to establish this initial guard, like he's looking for a sleeve maybe for like a sleeve control game or a collar, like collar drags. But you fight some guys and they're very passive, right? They just keep breaking grips and backing up. And in that case, I think one of the best initial grips you can get to is like a low lapel, because like the ankle is hard to get, the guy's backing up, he breaks, he's very passive. So this is a great start grip. So go ahead and go from there.
Yeah, so a lot of times like once I get the lapel right away, I'm pulling my guard up. And so I'm already playing with a lot of slack here. And I really like to play the game and immediately start entering based on whatever leg is forward on whatever side. So if he leads with this leg, I might start shooting for squid or deep squid. If he goes to the other side, you know, I can start playing for the worm or whatever here. So a lot of people will tend to lead with this leg first, and so I'll start attacking the worm guard. And as I do this, the first thing that everybody loves to do to counter is to stuff this foot on this side, right over here. So as I start feeding this, everybody they love to start stuffing this. And I really don't like to play a game where I'm like, you know, it's more reaction based. So if he wants to stuff that, okay, I should have an answer for everything that he wants to do. So right away when I start stuffing it, or I start passing the lapel, he stuffs it, I'm taking my hand on this side and I switch over to like kind of single leg X worm sort of, and all the time building my base here. So I'm not just coming up with my elbow, because a lot of times they kind of drive forward or they stand or whatever. So I just come up wide and I put all my weight right on the lapel so I can swing. As I do this, I can shoot my leg through, stomping the floor to lift, just like a saddle entry or something. So I can control here, I can start pulling him in, and a lot of times I reach behind to start scooping this leg, right? As I scoop this leg, depending on if you're comfortable locking or not, if you're familiar with the rules for IBJJF, I might lock to sweep like this, or a lot of times I just don't even lock. I sweep up this way, all right? Once I come up here, I have a lot of different options and finishes. You could just bail and just continue passing. Another thing I love to do is to roll through, and I can start connecting this to the bolos and everything else that Nick did in his last video. So again, one of the most common reactions I feel is when I get here, he pulls that leg away right away, and so I just pass the lapel here, right? Now right away he's gonna start turning the angle and everything like this, so I'm really trying to turn away from that, right? Lifting my hips in the air so all my weight is floating and swinging on this lapel here. Shooting through, lifting up, and I'm trying to reach behind the thigh or grab a really nice strong grip here on the leg. So I go behind the thigh, lifting his hip, underhooking, and swinging him down. Right? As I go for this, I can roll through to the bolo, or I can just start to pass. All right? Connecting to maybe what Nick was doing before, I can start coming here and chasing the back.
I noticed when you did that, you got over the knee line with the lapel. Is like super important there when you're doing
that?
Yeah,
it's definitely pretty important here when I go for the sweep, right? As I pull this one in and I swing to connect it to the bolo, I'm really trying to use my arm, and I'm sometimes even pulling this in to loop over top of this. Now when I roll through, my bottom leg, if it pops out, great, I'm gonna take the back or the mount. But a lot of times I just leave it in and I go to hook this bottom leg. So I go to roll through here. As I hook, I continue to hold my lapel grip to control this leg. I can step and I pull his hips to me, chasing the back right away, just like that. One other common, super common reaction that I get, and the last one that I'll do, is when I'm here like this and the guy starts heavy knee slicing, and it's really tricky to feed the lapel and to start swinging or anything, because he's already kind of got his weight down a little bit, all right? And so I just make sure that I keep him away. I'm creating distance on this collar here, because if I grab this one, it just sort of opens up. So I keep the distance here, and that gives me a lot of time to rip the lapel out and get a lot of slack. Once I feel I'm comfortable, I have a lot of slack, I pass the lapel to the other side and I use it on my knee. This stops the slide on this side. All right, now I just take my time and then I can step my foot into the lapel right here. When I do this, it's really, really difficult to pass to this side, but he might continue to do it. So I start pressuring forward, hooking the reverse de la Riva. When I hook the reverse de la Riva, I go with an underhook. My foot then curls down over the top and I pass the grip off. So one more time really quick. I'm here, reverse de la Riva, passing the grip down and trading that grip off here, all right? The number one thing that people always do once I get them into the gummy worm position, which is where we are right now, is he's gonna grab my head, or he's gonna try, right? I can frame like this, and I can press away. If he stays based on this leg, can you come up on this leg? All right, a super common reaction is they stay here and they start grabbing this. So I just cross grip, and I cross step the spider. Now I can lift my hips and just go under. Boom. My arm beats the knee line, and my leg is hooking on the far side. I don't know if you can tell or not right here. All right, so I'm hooking here like this. And again, I have another perfect opportunity to come up. Now I'm gonna bail, and I can just finish the bowl right there. So I can attack the back directly. So again, just defending, I'm kind of playing, I'm keeping him away. When I feel comfortable with a lot of slack, I pull the lapel, and this is the beauty of it, is I don't need to go stepping and doing all this fancy stuff. I just pass the lapel to the other side, and as he starts pressuring in, I'm just blocking here with my shin to hold him off. When he kind of relaxes for a second to push again, I step. Now I can lift him with this as I go for the reverse de la Riva hook. Passing the grip off, going underneath. Now I'm in the gummy worm. All right, I can go for the spider, I can shoot different submissions and attacks from here. It's really, really fun position to play with. But just the reaction we're doing that's super common is people love to grab your head. So I just reach across, cross step, stretching, lifting my hips so that my arm comes over the top. From this position, I could come up straight to the mount, but I love to chase the back right away. Because a lot of people will flatten out because they don't, they want to start pushing, they make the mount really difficult here, or they'll push the knee. So right away, I don't want to make that battle happen. I just want to roll through, and I want to start attacking the back. So I really like these positions because it doesn't stop them from doing anything. If they want to kill the leg, okay, I have an answer. If they want to pass to the other side and drive heavy pressure, okay, there's an answer. If they want to lead with the other leg, everything that they want to do, there's plenty of different reactions that you can use to beat their reactions and counter it. You can wrap the lapel to the far side for the squid, go for the deep squid, you can go for the worm. Sometimes they pull up the leg, you can go for the deep worm. There's a bunch of different positions, and there's a bunch of different variations on the worm guard that people don't really know and people don't really play with too much. I've been hitting these in competition for a while now. It's a position that I really like a lot, and I feel it catches a lot of people when they do those main reactions of the popular defenses. So
yeah, I think a couple thoughts about that too is always, to me, good jiu-jitsu is when you have technique that your opponent doesn't know. Like if you think of like the original UFC, like when Royce Gracie triangle choked Dan Severn, like Dan Severn didn't know what a triangle choke was, right? That's why he was able to do it. And Dan Severn, for you guys who don't know, is like a 270-pound Olympic wrestler who fought Royce Gracie, and he had no idea what a triangle choke was because jiu-jitsu was new, and that's why he was able to choke him. If he knew what it was, then he probably wouldn't have got caught in it. And I think that sometimes guys get so focused on hard training and just doing what's currently out there, and to be on the cutting edge of jiu-jitsu, to beat people who are more physical than you, you always need to be on the cutting edge of new techniques. I feel like the Kyotera ankle lock was like that. Like when it first came out, if you didn't know what it was, you got like ankle lock the first time, always, right? So I really like that kind of that modern lapel stuff that you were just doing. Another thought too is like, I know some guys kind of go, they try to pick a game. They're like, oh, I'm a spider guard guy, or I'm a single leg guy, and they kind of pick a game and try to get locked in on it. And I always find that's one of the most detrimental things for your guard development. So even if you have you don't play lapel systems at all, and you like to play collar sleeve or de libre or some more classic stuff, adding threats in like that, even if you don't master it yet, just adding those in will make people in your gym start respecting those threats more, which will make the other stuff you do set up easier as well, right? So I really try to urge everyone to always have an open mind with playing new positions and things, because things will have a weird way of connecting that you don't expect. Like, for example, that the knee line concept he was just talking about in the worm guard actually recently helped make my De La Hiva a lot better, as well as my Berimbolo. Just go real quick, just to explain how positions can kind of come together. I was training with Lucas Galvacero when he was here, and we were just working like the reverse yellow worm. And in this position, one of the big ideas is to get over this knee line, right? Like if I can hop over this knee line, I'm not like a worm guard expert, but if you just get over this knee line, now my threat for the back and everything else is way stronger. I have the mount if he falls over, just however, right here I have the mount and everything. But if I'm not over that knee line, this knee is in the way, right? And then now it's harder to get the finish. I might get the sweep, but it's harder to get like the mount or the back, right? But just understanding that concept, I was playing, stand up for this sec. Understanding that concept, I was playing my De La Hiva, and the guy went to like one knee on the floor, right? And I was here, and I just was playing cross sleeve De La Hiva, like a classic position. But that knee line concept kind of stuck in my head. I was like, well, what if here I just focused on getting over that knee line? So I started doing that, and then when I started going for the back, it became much easier to go for the back. Now this can turn into a Berimbolo, or I can just pull around and go for the back because I'm already over the knee line. But like that wasn't intentional. I didn't mean for that development to come, but sometimes by opening your game up and playing different positions you're not used to, things will come out of it that you don't expect. Okay, you have any other thoughts, Daniel?
No, definitely. I think that's super important. The concept that he's talking about with the knee line is everything when you're playing with the lapels, De La Hiva, bolos, anything. And I just feel it's super important not to be married to the position where you're like, I have to play lapels. And so when you grab the lapel guard, you're like, yes, this is it. This, okay, I gotta loop it here, loop it there. And a lot of people, they forget, like, hey, just let go of the lapel and recompose your guard a lot of times. That's the number one mistake I see when people are first starting with lapels. But then even if you're more advanced, what I see a lot of is when the person steps over the foot, they continue to hold the lapel without changing the guard. And so when this happens, then they just get folding past, they get smashed, and they get their guard just demolished because they don't know how to counter the reaction of stepping over the foot. They don't know how to counter the drive, so they have to switch to a different guard. And a lot of people, they don't. They hang on, and they think like, I got this lapel, there's safety, there's security here, and there really isn't. If your position is solid, your position is solid no matter who you're going against, and no matter, what the position is that you're playing. But if you're out of position even a little, your knee is on the wrong side, like he's saying, or maybe your grip is facing the wrong way, something small is off, that can kind of change the entire thing. I think that's super important to know. Can I just do one more?
Yeah, sure.
So when you're in this position here and like he's trying to pass, or maybe you win that initial grip fight battle where he's not letting you get the grips here and you're able to rip the lapel out, right? Once you're here and you have the lapel and everything, don't stay too married to this, So as you start passing and feeding and playing all the different guards that you want to play, it's super key that you're not just letting him kind of do whatever, and at the same point, you're not sticking onto this. So as you start feeding, and he makes that switch where, I see this all the time, people will start folding, they'll start smashing, now you're here too much, just like you're talking about. So just to illustrate that point, all right? So I just have to change one more time, I can go into the same technique, coming up, shooting through, lifting, and I can start chasing the back. And then same with the gummy worm again, where I can wrap the lapel around. So I'll just show one last time, right? Where I'm stepping on this side, and now I can just stop him completely from passing this side, because as he starts to run, it blocks everything out for this side. But at the same time, if he goes the other direction, right? Now there's no tension on that lapel, and now you're like, oh, and a lot of people will stay connected to this. So just be very wary of this. Use it in conjunction with the other guards that you have, and like he said, you have to make sure that you have a complete game. So if you don't have the lapels and you add those attacks in, people don't know how to defend them, you're going to annihilate them with those attacks. But then when they know how to defend them, at the same time, if you're higher level, you got to know how to not be married to that position, go back to playing collar sleeve, double sleeve, De La Hiva, whatever guard that you're more comfortable with, and continue to build knowing every guard. Awesome.
All right, guys. We may put one more video out on crab rides and bolos. It depends on if we have time left. Also, follow these guys on Instagram, Daniel Myra and Nick Salz. I'll put their info in the description as well. They're going to be posting more content soon, especially with some of that modern like crab ride, berimbolo stuff. That stuff's really taking over. If you saw like Roberto Jimenez this past weekend choked Felipe Andrew with a nice setup from tops. There's a lot of great stuff out there. So check them out. If you guys like the channel, as always, like, share, subscribe. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.